Teofimo Lopez wants his call out towards Terence Crawford to be taken serious by the media, by the independent media, by the boxing fans, by the boxing pundits, and by his contemporaries, Teofimo Lopez on June 29th versus Steve Claggett cannot perform to the level of his competition. Teofimo Lopez got to look great. Teofimo Lopez got to look awesome. Teofimo Lopez got to look unstoppable. Teofimo Lopez got to look breathtaking. Teofimo Lopez has to look like the takeover. Now, look, there is a hypocrisy in the notion of fighting to the level of his competition. And I'm talking about, peep this, when Teofimo Lopez fought Richard Comey, when Teofimo Lopez beat Vasily Lomachenko and Josh Taylor, especially when Vasily Lomachenko was regarded pound for pound, 1, 2, 3, you could flip it around, and Josh Taylor was the reigning king in the 140-pound division. Did he fight to the level of his competition? Yep. And even higher than the level of his expectations, right? But then when he fight the likes of maybe the Nakatanis of the world, when he fought Sando Martin and Jermaine Ortiz, in which people didn't like the performance, people said that he's fighting to the level of his competition. But this is why people should take the call out of Terence Crawford serious, and the reason why they should take the fight with Steve Claggett serious. You get it? See, one thing about Teofimo Lopez is we don't know which Teofimo Lopez is actually going to show up. Is it going to be the special Teofimo Lopez that beat Vasily Lomachenko and Josh Taylor and Richard Comey in the second round KO? Or is it going to be the Teofimo Lopez and Jermaine Ortiz that underperformed because Jermaine Ortiz was running like he was in the Boston Marathon? I was not really mad at Teofimo Lopez because Jermaine Ortiz did not come to fight; he came to run. Sando Martin, it wasn't a fight that exceeded the expectations, right? But he still won the fight, close fight, right? And then the likes of, he had the hiccup with George Kambosos, in which he wasn't 100%, but at the end of the day, he still stepped inside the ring, so you can't take that win away from George Kambosos, right? And people was critiquing him in the Nakatani fight and saying that after the Nakatani fight that he wasn't even ready for a Richard Comey or Vasily Lomachenko, in which he proved a lot of people wrong. That's one thing about Teofimo Lopez. The Teofimo Lopez has humbled the boxing world time and time again. But it's also, his performance has also took away the hype, right? The hype momentum. So you can look at it both ways. There's some hypocrisy when it comes to he fights to the level of his competition. This is why Steve Claggett, June 29th, is probably still a dangerous fight for Teofimo Lopez. But yet, this is the fight that Teofimo Lopez has to erase that reputation, whether people agree with it or not, whether he agrees with it or not, that he has a reputation now that he fights to the level of his competition. We know that Teofimo Lopez is going to show up when he's fighting a pound-for-pound kettlebell fighter, and this is the reason why people got to take that call out serious. That's why he could challenge Terence Crawford. I don't give a damn what y'all say. Yeah, Terence Crawford is good. Yeah, Terence Crawford is great. Yeah, he's a 3-division world champion, 2-division undisputed. But like I said 1,000 times, and y'all know it like I know, if it wasn't for the politics of the sport of boxing, Teofimo Lopez would be recognized as the first 2-division undisputed. Like I said before, if it wasn't for the damn WBC and the franchise, and if it wasn't for Josh Taylor vacating his world titles, the boxing world 100% would be recognizing him as the first by the age of 25 years old. That's the reason why he's a 2-time lineal champion. Terence Crawford is a 2-time lineal champion as well. Or 3-time lineal champion. It makes sense. The call-out should be respected. But the performance needs to create that buzz, that momentum, that captivate the imagination and the emotions of the boxing fans. See, it's the performances. It's not necessarily just the win. It's the performance that captivates the imagination and the emotions of the boxing fans. And if you gotta live, if your name is the takeover, you gotta live by it. You gotta give us that you down to take over. And I believe that Teofimo Lopez, since day one, y'all already know, I've been saying that he's the captain of this young generation, the commander-in-chief, the guy that set the tone. As a matter of fact, the guy that set the tone for the undisputeds. Teofimo Lopez of this generation is the leader of setting the tone. fighting 50-50 fights. How many pound-for-pound fighters is fighting pound-for-pound fighters? There's gonna be other fans out there be like, well, he doesn't sound like Ryan. He doesn't sound like Tank. At the end of the day, when it's time, if they all retire right now, Teofimo Lopez will be walking into the Hall of Fame. And y'all still be talking about, but they put butts in the seats. That's what you're gonna say in the podium. Teofimo Lopez needs to erase that reputation. And I believe he's going to do it June 29th versus Steve Claggett in Miami, Florida. He can't put a lot of pressure on himself. I do believe that Teofimo Lopez is one of the few fighters that really care about how he performs and entertain for the fans. He has that Manny Pacquiao appeal. Manny Pacquiao always cared about if Manny Pacquiao didn't perform spectacular, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter to him that he wins. And that's Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez is just not about the win, but it's how you win. He takes pride in being a showman. Other fighters don't. Teofimo Lopez, in those performances that people feel like he didn't perform to his expectations, is when he's putting a lot of pressure on himself. He wants to have a show. He wants to entertain the crowd. He wants to give the people their money's worth. And sometimes these other fighters like Sando and Jermaine Ortiz just came to go a whole 10, a whole 12. Just to say that I won a full fight with the high invested fighter, and they feel like by just going and surviving, they get a big fight down the line with somebody else. And then there's people that hate on Teofimo Lopez that you congratulate that type of strategy. I never want to see Jermaine Ortiz in a televised fight if that's the way that he's gonna be fighting, running around like that. And people criticize Teofimo Lopez for going out there and trying to dictate the fight and trying to make it a fight. But then on the flip side, when people talking about Shakur Stevenson versus Eduardo dos Santos, and Shakur Stevenson was around, it was the one running away, you guys blame Shakur Stevenson. But when it's Teofimo Lopez in his fight with Jermaine Ortiz, and he's the one that's chasing the guy that's running, you blame it on Teofimo Lopez. And this is when I know that people just hate on Teofimo Lopez. But why would you hate on somebody that's striving to be great? Why are you trying to hate on somebody that's trying to give the sport of boxing its morals and principle and dare to be great? When did ever we start criticizing the guy that's dare to be great? Oh, because it's Teofimo Lopez. But all right. We got to do better as fans to support when somebody's trying to keep the morals of the sport and try to dare to be great, and so we could witness greatness. And it's Teofimo Lopez's job June 29th to captivate the imagination, the emotions of the boxing fans with a spectacular performance. And look, just as easy as people could not have faith in a fighter when they don't perform well, it's just as easy as to humble the boxing world again and show the people why you're the takeover and have a spectacular performance versus Steve Claggett. Because right now in the sport of boxing, people care about performance. There's a reason why Gervonta Davis and Frank Martin, people are going to be watching that fight. It's just because a guy like Gervonta Davis just delivers performance. He might not give you the name that we want, but he always delivers in terms of performance. Teo delivers in performance versus the elite fighters. But he also has to beat those fighters that's not supposed to be on this level just as good to keep that momentum. So Teofimo Lopez, June 29th, needs to take over so his call-out could have weight on it. And then his call-out will be respected and be supported by many. And then we could stop talking about this potential Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Teofimo Lopez versus Bud Crawford is more realistic. But outside of that, in the 140-pound division, we want to see what Subriel Matias is going to be doing versus Liam Paro this Saturday. And let's see if we could get that unification bout in Madison Square Garden. Subriel Matias versus Teofimo Lopez. You already know Brooklyn, Puerto Rico. Yo, that would be awesome. Or Pitbull Cruz and Teo. Or maybe Ryan Garcia versus Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez, I feel and I know he's going to perform spectacular June 29th. Let's go. The takeover is here. The takeover is now. The takeover is forever.